Hello, Brovs. We're back with 6 lessons in crystal gazing, a complete course of instruction for the beginner by Dr. Mayne. Copyright 1928. Lesson 4, How to Crystal Gaze. This lesson shall be devoted exclusively to the best known methods for producing hallucinatory pictures in the crystal. The procedure will be recorded step by step, and it is hoped that the student will follow the process closely and note all the details which tend towards success. A crystal is the most desired object for scrying because of its perfect shape and absolute clearness, there being no disturbing shadows present. A crystal of not less than 2 inches in diameter should be used. Larger crystals are suggested and are usually productive of better results. Having a larger area, they tend to present a larger picture within their depths. The most ideal size is a 4 or 5 inch imported crystal mounted on a glass or bronze pedestal. The cost of the crystal depends entirely on the size and quantity, and prices are proportioned to the size of the crystal. Genuine imported gazing crystals may be purchased as low as $3.75 for the 2 inch size and up to $20 for the 5 inch size. The reader should also take special note of the student special combination offer of $5 at $5 made by the publishers and advertised elsewhere in this book. The world's finest crystals are manufactured in Czechoslovakia, from whence they are shipped all over the world. The English crystals are also regarded as very fine. There are a few crystals made in this country, but as a rule, they are far inferior to the imported crystals. The domestic crystals usually possess a greater number of air bubbles and have a flat base. The base and bubbles are objectionable, as it is easily understood they might mar an otherwise perfect vision. These few reminders should be kept in mind when purchasing crystals. It is immaterial whether the crystal be placed on a pedestal or stand or whether held in the hands. A pedestal of pure glass or bronze is recommended, as it offers a perfect base and the weight of the crystal does not tire the scryer. However, if the crystal is to be held, a black cloth or dark-colored velvet should be placed between the hands and the crystal. This prevents actual contact with the hands and prevents sweating of the glass, such as may be noticed when the warm hands are brought into contact with any cold glass surface. Warm the crystal by holding it near the fire or tightly in the hands. Retire to a quiet room free from all disturbances and first practice alone. Draw the window curtains so as to exclude nearly all light and leave the room in comparative darkness. It should be understood that sufficient light should be present to allow the scryer to plainly see the crystal. The crystal should always rest against a black background. Let what light there is from the window or lamp fall over your shoulder on the crystal, which may be held in the hand or placed on a small table, and should be about the same distance from your eyes as a book would be when reading. Gaslight will be found quite equal to daylight, and moonlight better. Some succeed best by daylight, others prefer artificial light. A person of strong emotions or of neurotic temperament will often succeed better in weak or even moonlight, whereas those of calm, dispassionate nature frequently find daylight about sunset to be the best. Learn to relax and sit passively. Select a comfortable chair, your back to the source of light to exclude any reflections from the crystal. It is suggested that the prospective scryer close the eyes for a period of 5 minutes, seeking a quiet, passive state of mind. Having arrived at a quiet and peaceful state of mind, concentrate your attention on the center of the crystal. Look into, not at, and do not stare to inconvenience yourself. Focus the gaze on the crystal and think of whatever you desire, but always with the expectations of seeing pictures. During this process, do not blink the eyes more than you can help. At the same time, do not strain them by trying to keep them open any length of time without blinking. Do not let the eyes wander from the ball, nor your attention relax from the subject in mind. Look intently in the depths of the crystal, concentrating on the subject that you wish to visualize. During the first attempt, concentration upon the crystal for about 5 minutes is sufficient. It is probable that you will have little or no success on your first few attempts. However, many claim perfect visions during their first trial. No one has ever been capable of getting into an automobile and driving with perfection without having practiced and through the process of actual experience. The ability to drive the machine is accomplished by repeated efforts and continued practice. Thus it is with your crystal gazing. You should not be discouraged nor think your time wasted if you do not obtain visions during your first few attempts or never develop the ability. Realize the value of the means used is entirely dependent upon the value of the result sought. Repeated attempts should be made if success is evasive. One party told me that she had tried gazing for over 2 years and had undoubtedly gazed into the ball several hundred times without success. To most of us, such an experience would be tiresome, and we would abandon attempts in a short time, and even believe that others were telling untruths when they claimed to see pictures in the crystal. But this party finally achieved success, and this is her explanation of her method. She concentrated her gaze upon the crystal and then, in imagination, tried to look beyond the crystal. She said in her first attempts, she seemed to gaze only a few feet beyond, but later her gaze appeared to gain distance of several hundred yards, and the pictures or figures would appear at the distance and approach the crystal. This splendid method is well for the beginner. What's that say? To follow. Many authentic reports have been received from various parties constituting these problems, that it is quite possible for the gazer to be able to see things in the crystal at one time and not at another. In fact, many of the best crystal gazers have lost the power for weeks and months together. This being so, you should endeavor to obtain visions at various times and under varying conditions, and not be discouraged if such visions call or fail to appear at your command. Pardon the partial text loss there. The sitting should be made daily, and if possible, at practically the same time each day. 5-minute periods at first are recommended, as the muscles of the eyelids will strengthen with practice until an unwinking gaze can be easily maintained for 20 minutes or a half hour. Do not force the eyes to stare. If you possess or have sufficiently developed the ability to obtain crystal visions, you will probably notice that just before the vision appears, the ball will cloud over as though milkish gray mists were filling it or were interposed between your eyes and the crystal. This is called clouding, and it is the first symptom of oncoming visions. Let the pictures come without self-consciousness. At first, they may be disjointed and confusion result, but with patience and certainty as your guide, they will be marshaled into line. Then the clear stream of truth will flow toward you. Many people get no further than the phenomena known as clouding, while others claim the crystal seems to change color, starting with a dark red and proceeding through the colors of the rainbow. The circles and rings always starting at the center of the crystal and progressing outward, as in disturbance of a small pond when a pebble is thrown into it. After this process, the pictures may be expected. When the ability to see clouding in the crystal has been attained, it is merely an advanced step to the vision, which ability may be developed by a few simple experiments. The first exercise for development is as follows. The breathing should be slow and deep while looking into the crystal, and it is well to rest for 5 minutes with closed eyes, both before and after gazing. In this way, the fatigue that some clairvoyants complain of may be avoided. Remain passive and do not endeavor to see anything in particular the first time of trying. Then write on a slip of paper what you wish to see. Turn the paper over and think no more about your question, but continue passive and wait as before for what may chance to come. Take notes of all you see, as like a dream, the crystal vision is soon forgotten. Second exercise, look carefully at some object in the room intently, making first sure that same is not reflected in the crystal. Then close the eyes and try to visualize it. Naturally, you will be able to do so as the impression has become embedded so deeply upon the retina of the eye that it remains there for some time. Then try it if you can see, then try if you can see it in the crystal. Repeat this experiment any number of times, and if you have any gift of visualization at all, this should be easily acquired after 8 or 10 short attempts. After the above exercise, first visualize some simple scene or object, such as a hammer. The picture immediately flashes into your mind, then transfer the mental picture into the crystal. Try to visualize a face or a scene which you know well in the crystal. Try also to visualize your dreams in the crystal. Visualization is a great assistant to the memory, and if only for this reason, crystal gazing is worth trying. Many details that you could not otherwise remember come clearly in the crystal. Mentally request your spirit friends to try and make their presence known to you by vision in the crystal. Get a friend to visualize a playing card in the crystal while you also try to visualize the card without knowing which card your friend is thinking of. The experiment in thought transference is equally successful between those far apart. If two crystals be used and the time of the experiment arranged beforehand, go gradually from the known to the unknown. This last described phenomena is similar with the demonstrations as presented by crystal gazers and seers who demonstrate their work from the stage of our theaters, apparently taking the thought vibration from the spectator's mind and receiving it into the crystal. Then, by a process of divination, reveal the answer. Do not, any time, force yourself to concentrate the attention or to see anything in the crystal by force of willpower. Simply keep gazing into the center of the globe until reflections pass and melt away, and then comes the feeling of illimitable space around you, a sense of looking into a great void. Pardon. My eyes start swirling here because this print is so small. With use, the pictures become stronger and more brilliant, and long practice should make results more certain and their induction easier. The sitting should be held about the same time daily, and the length of the sitting can be increased daily, providing the effort does not fatigue the scryer. You must be expectant, ever waiting for the results of your efforts. Many times no picture will appear, but as you gaze, suddenly there is born in your mind the sudden preception of what you saw. All that is necessary to formulate clearly in your mind what you wish to know. Ask for divine guidance. Affirm that only the truth can reach you. Then dismiss it from your mind and concentrate on your crystal, knowing that you will receive your answer. It may not come for several days. Pardon. It may not come for several days. It will come in time. It is not necessary that the problem be solved through a series of pictures seen in the crystal ball, as just explained. If you are puzzled by a seemingly unsolvable problem, the solution will be given you when you forget yourself and gaze into the crystal ball. The value of the crystal is amply repaid, if only in the manner in which it rests the body and strengthens the mind and memory. And it is a fact that many people possess a clairvoyant power in a greater or less degree, which only need the agency of such a concentrating influence as the crystal, to blossom out and become perfected in them. To those already clairvoyant, it is possible to achieve wonderful results, and only an intelligent use of the crystal and its power can teach its real value and influence. Faith is absolutely necessary to success. Without belief, no results can be expected. But faith, passiveness, patience, and continued study should repay the crystal gazer just in proportion to the latent power within them. All right. And that's all for lesson 4. Lesson 5, silent influence through the crystal, will be next.